do you find it more on Billy Donovan to try to concoct a scheme that can also, kind of hide Giddey a little bit and protect him, but also showcase what he can use defensively, which is his size?
Yeah, I mean, I think Billy would say, like, he's not hiding anybody. Like, Giddey has to step up to that moment and become a better defender. And that's the challenge that Billy has given Giddey, and Giddey, I think, has responded and stepped up to that. I mean, not long ago, he was getting played off the floor in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Guards were, like, I mean, we talked about this early season against the Cavs, where Darius Garland would just bring him into pick and roll, isolate on him, cook him, and then sit him on the bench, basically.
Yes.
And like, to his credit, he's working a lot harder on that end. I think that there are just limitations that guys have in this league. Like, not everybody is an elite defender. Giddey is not, but he's trying a lot harder, and I think that helps. But if you're the Bulls, like, you have to build a whole defensive scheme and infrastructure around him to, yes, protect him against his weaknesses, but also just put the team in a position where they're not always having to make up for him. And I think that's the challenge, right? Is to, like, say, yeah, maybe you're not going to be guarding, Jamal Murray every night, but you do have to do X, Y, and Z things, and we'll help make up for that in other ways. That's why I think you're seeing a lot of zone defense from the Bulls of late. It's why, yeah, I mean, guys are having to slide over and block shots. They've always been a team that they always say, like, you've got to do it collectively. It's not just a one-on-one thing. Even when they had Caruso and Lonzo, that was like the best defense that we've seen individually. But as a group, like, they still needed to make up for guys like Zach, DeMar, and Vooch. So how do you do that collectively? And I think that's been the challenge, and that always has been when you're not a defense team. I think the thing with Giddey is that you just have to have, because he plays like a point guard, effectively he's your point guard on offense, but he can't really guard your point guards defensively. You need to bring in a specific archetype of player to help alleviate that, right? Like, you need a guy who can be off the ball on offense and space the floor really well and make good decisions, but can also guard on the ball, who has length to be able to switch up and make up for some of Giddey's, limitations. And that's the challenge of building around him. It becomes harder when you also have Kobe back there, who, again, works really hard on that end, has gotten a lot better, but still is not a stopper. And then you have Vooch on the back line. So there's just a lot of challenges that you're facing, and that's why it's been so impressive that the Bulls have been a top 10 defense over the last 10 games. But I think that's just something that they're going to have to think about as they build out this team. And Modest is a perfect example of a player who I think fits that really well, where he can switch onto the ball a little bit, but he's a really good rim protector. He's blocking a ton of shots, and he's long and he's athletic and he works hard. So I think if you can find another guard like Ayo, or maybe it's just Ayo or Alonzo or one of the guys in the rotation already, that you can kind of neutralize some of that stuff. But at a certain point, like, those guys just need to guard. They need to dig in and guard. And to credit both Giddey and Kobe, they've been doing that.
And that's kind of what I was going to ask him. Like, well, what's the prototype player that you're speaking of?
I mean,
Lonzo,
Caruso.
We know we have that.
You know what I mean? Exactly. Ayo. All those guys are just like perfect complementary pieces because they're all 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". They can all shoot, and they're really good on the ball, but they're smart enough to be able to defend away from the ball too. And I think when you are trying to work around guys' limitations, you have to have a level of IQ collectively of, we need to make up for this guy by rotating early or pre-switching or just like, getting guys out of positions where they're the one that gets picked on. And I think the Bulls have done a pretty good job of that. I think the zone has helped, but inherently it's just hard to craft a really good defense when you have guys that are not great defenders.
Yeah. So again, shout out to Billy Donovan.
We all silly like the mayor.